The starship Harmony's promise moved through the darkness of space like a silver needle threading through black cloth. Inside the vessel, Captain Velther stood on the bridge, his four eyes scanning the displays in front of him. His blue skin reflected the soft lights of the control panels, and his long fingers tapped nervously against his command chair. "We are approaching the Draken border station," announced the navigation officer. Her voice was calm, but everyone on the bridge could feel the tension in the air. Velther nodded slowly. This was an important mission. The Galactic Coalition had sent him to negotiate peace with the Draken Empire. For 20 years, the two powers had avoided each other, circling like wary animals. Now, trade routes needed to be established. Resources needed to be shared. Someone had to make the first move. The captain looked around his bridge crew. There were 6 different species represented here. His own people, the Kryn, were known for their diplomatic skills. The Torvalians handled weapon systems with their multiple arms. The Selkith navigator could calculate jumps through space faster than any computer. And then there were the humans. Tay stood at the engineering station, checking power distribution systems. He was of average height for a human, with dark hair and calm brown eyes. His hands moved efficiently across the controls, making small adjustments that kept the ship running smoothly. Next to the medical bay entrance stood Yuna, the human medic, reviewing her supplies on a datapad. Her hair was pulled back in a practical style, and she wore the standard medical uniform. Humans were strange to most of the Coalition species. They had joined only 20 years ago, after their planet had nearly destroyed itself in wars. The Coalition had found them just in time, offering technology and membership in exchange for peace. Since then, humans had been grateful, quiet, and obedient. They took the jobs nobody else wanted. They never complained. They never pushed for better positions. Most species in the Coalition thought humans were weak. Their planet, Earth, was dangerous compared to other worlds, but the humans themselves seemed soft. They had no natural armor like the Draken. They had no venom like the Selkith. They were not particularly strong or fast. They were just ordinary. The Coalition treated them kindly, the way one might treat a rescued animal that needed protection. Velther had 3 humans on his ship. Tay in engineering, Yuna in medical, and Hyan working as a cultural liaison. They were good workers, never causing problems. The captain felt responsible for them, the way a shepherd feels responsible for sheep. "Captain, the Draken station is hailing us," said Jinwoo, the human communications officer. He had transferred to this ship only a month ago. His voice was professional and clear. "Open the channel," Velther ordered. The main screen flickered to life. A Draken commander appeared, his face covered in armored scales. He had 6 glowing eyes arranged in 2 rows, and his mouth held rows of sharp teeth. Draken were warriors, evolved from pack hunters on their brutal homeworld. They respected strength and despised weakness. "Coalition vessel," the Draken commander said, his voice like rocks grinding together. "You wish to speak of peace?" "Yes, Commander," Velther replied, keeping his voice steady. "We believe our peoples can benefit from cooperation, trade, cultural exchange, and mutual defense agreements." The Draken commander laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "Cooperation? I see your crew, Captain. I see the weak species you protect. The Coalition is soft. You collect broken things and call it strength." Velther felt his heart beating faster. His species, the Kryn, had evolved as prey animals. Running from danger was written into every cell of his body. But he was a captain now. He had responsibilities. "Commander, please, let us dock and discuss this properly." The Draken was silent for a moment. Then he smiled, showing all his teeth. "Very well. Dock at Port 7. Come with your diplomatic team. We will talk." The screen went dark. "Sir," said the weapons officer quietly. "I do not trust this." "Neither do I," Velthor admitted. "But we must try." He stood up from his command chair. "Diplomatic team, prepare to disembark. That means you, Hyan, and representatives from each species. Tay, Yuna, you will come as support staff." Tay looked up from his engineering console. "Understood, Captain." Something in the human's voice made Velthor pause. It was too calm, too accepting, but there was no time to think about it. They had a mission to complete. 30 minutes later, the diplomatic team walked through the docking tube and into the Draken station. The air smelled like metal and something sharp that made Velthor's nose wrinkle. The station was dark, lit only by red emergency lights. Draken preferred dim environments. Their eyes were made for hunting at night. 6 Draken warriors met them at the entrance. Each one stood over 7 feet tall, their bodies covered in natural armor plates. They carried plasma rifles that looked well used. The captain of this group gestured with one clawed hand. "Follow." The commander waits. They walked through narrow corridors. The diplomatic team stayed close together. Velthor could hear his own breathing, fast and shallow. His instincts screamed at him to run, but he forced his feet to keep moving forward. The Draken commander waited in a large circular room. More warriors lined the walls, at least 20 of them. Too many for a peaceful meeting. Velthor felt cold fear spreading through his chest. "Captain Velthor," the commander said, "you bring your people here to speak of peace. But I see weakness. I see prey animals and support species. I see nothing worth respecting." "Commander, please," Velthor began. Silence. The Draken commander's voice boomed through the room. "You insult us by coming here. You think the Draken Empire will bend knee to the coalition? We are warriors. We do not negotiate with prey." Alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed faster. Velthor heard the sound of doors slamming shut throughout the station. Locked down. They were trapped. The Draken warriors raised their weapons, pointing them at the diplomatic team. The coalition representatives moved closer together, fear evident in their eyes and body language. Velthor's mind raced. They were going to die here. The mission had failed. He had led his people into a trap. "You will serve as an example," the commander said coldly. "The coalition will learn that the Draken do not accept weakness. You will be executed as spies, and your bodies will be sent back to your precious coalition." Velthor's 4 eyes went wide. His species' prey instincts took over completely. He could not think, could not plan. Every part of his body screamed run, but there was nowhere to run. The doors were sealed. They were surrounded. Then, through his panic, he saw movement. Tay was walking forward. The human moved calmly, stepping past Velthor, past the other diplomats, walking straight toward the nearest Draken warrior. "No!" Velthor shouted, his voice breaking. "Stay behind me, human. I will protect you." But even as the words left his mouth, he knew they were meaningless. What protection could he offer? He was frozen in fear. And Tay had already taken the lead, walking forward with steady steps, his hands visible and empty at his sides, moving towards 7 feet of armored alien warrior with plasma weapons pointed at his chest. The human's face was calm. His eyes were steady, and somewhere deep in his body language, in the way he moved and held himself, was something the captain had never noticed before. Something that looked like confidence. The kind of confidence that came not from weapons or armor, but from something much older. Something written into human DNA across millions of years of evolution. The Draken warrior snarled at Tay's approach, but the human did not stop walking, did not even slow down. And in that moment, Captain Velthor realized he had never truly understood what humans were. The Draken warrior towered over Tay, his armored body reflecting the red emergency lights. His 6 eyes focused on the approaching human, and his mandibles clicked in warning. The plasma rifle in his hands hummed with ready power. One shot would turn Tay into Ashdod, but Tay kept walking. He moved with an easy stride, like he was taking a walk in a park, instead of approaching an armed alien warrior who wanted to kill him. His hands stayed at his sides, open and empty. His breathing was slow and steady. When he got within 3 feet of the Draken, he stopped. Then he looked up and met the warrior's eyes. All 6 of them. The Draken warrior felt something unexpected. A chill ran down his spine. In the human's brown eyes, he saw something that his ancestors had known well. The patience of a hunter. The calm of a creature that knew it was dangerous. This small, soft-looking being looked at him without fear, without submission, without the panic that prey showed when cornered. The warrior took a step backward before he realized what he was doing. His mandibles stopped clicking. His grip on the rifle loosened just slightly. Captain Velther watched in shock. He had never seen a Draken warrior back down from anything. His own fear was still there, making his hands shake, but confusion was mixing with it now. What was happening? "You want to kill us," Tay said. His voice was quiet but clear. Everyone in the room could hear him. "You want to prove that you are strong and we are weak. That is fine. That is your way." The Draken commander stepped forward, interested now. "The human speaks. Continue, soft one. Tell me why I should not burn you where you stand." Tay turned to face the commander. He moved slowly, making no sudden movements, but there was no fear in the gesture. "We came here in peace. We brought no weapons. We offered friendship. But if you need to test your strength to believe in ours, then test it. Test it." The commander laughed, that grinding sound of metal on metal. "Against what? You have nothing. You are nothing. Test yourself against me," Tay said simply. "Single combat. Your rules. Your honor system. If I lose, you kill all of us and send our bodies back as your message. If I win, you listen to our offer of peace." The room went silent. Even the alarms seemed to fade into the background. Velther felt his 4 eyes go even wider. "Tay, no. You cannot, Captain," Hyan said quietly. The other human cultural liaison had moved to stand beside Velther. His voice was calm, almost amused. "Let him do this. Trust him. Trust him? He will die. Humans are not warriors. You have no armor, no natural weapons. No claws, no venom, no thick skin," Hyan agreed. "But we have other things. Things the galaxy has not noticed yet." He smiled slightly. "Watch, you will understand." The Draken commander studied Tay for a long moment. In Draken culture, refusing a challenge to single combat was the greatest dishonor possible. It marked a warrior as coward forever. The commander could not refuse without losing respect from his own men. But he also could not believe this human posed any real threat. Draken fought like storms. Fast, brutal, overwhelming force. They had natural armor that could stop most weapons. Their claws could cut through metal. Their strength could crush bones. What could a soft human do against that? "Very well," the commander said. "I accept your challenge, human. You will fight Carrick, my finest warrior, in the arena with no weapons and no armor. He will tear you apart in seconds, and your captain will watch his own failure to protect you." Tay nodded. "That is acceptable. When do we begin?" "Now," the commander said. He gestured, and the Draken warriors began moving the diplomatic team toward another room. Velther tried to reach Tay, to stop this madness, but Hyan held him back. "Captain, please. Watch and learn. This is important." The arena was a circular platform 30 feet across, suspended over a recycling pit. The drop below was deep and dark. No railings, no safety features. Fall off the platform, and you fell into machinery that would grind anything into component atoms. This was where Draken settled disputes that could not be solved with words. Carrick entered from one side. He was massive, even for a Draken, standing nearly 8 feet tall. His armor plating was thick and scarred from many battles. His claws were like curved knives. He flexed his forearms, each one corded with muscle, and roared. The sound shook the air. Tay stepped onto the platform from the other side. He was just under 6 feet tall. His body was lean, built for efficiency rather than bulk. He wore simple clothes that allowed free movement. Compared to Carrick, he looked like a child about to fight an adult. Una stood with the diplomatic team at the edge of the arena. Her medical training made her assess Tay's chances automatically. Human bones would break against Draken armor. Human flesh would tear against those claws. Carrick could kill Tay with a single blow. She wanted to scream at him to stop, to surrender, to not throw his life away. But she had known Tay for 3 years. She had worked with him on Earth before they joined the Coalition. And she remembered something about humans that the aliens had never learned. Something that Earth's history had proven again and again. Humans did not give up. Ever. No matter the odds. No matter the pain. No matter how impossible victory seemed. Their species had climbed to the top of Earth's food chain, not through being the strongest or fastest, but through being too stubborn to die. The Draken commander raised one clawed hand. Begin. Carrick charged immediately. He moved fast for his size, closing the distance in 3 powerful strides. His claws swept toward Tay's head, aiming to decapitate him in the first second of the fight. Tay ducked under the blow. He moved smoothly, his body flowing like water. The claws passed over his head, missing by inches. Carrick spun, his tail whipping around to catch Tay in the ribs. The tail was covered in bony plates that could shatter concrete. Tay jumped over it. He landed on the balls of his feet, already moving, creating distance between himself and the Draken warrior. Carrick charged again. His forearms reached out, trying to grab, to crush, to tear. But Tay was not there. He slipped to the side, his movements economical and precise. No wasted energy. No panic. 1 minute passed. Then 2. Then 5. Carrick was breathing harder now. His charges were slightly slower. Draken were built for short, explosive fights. They used overwhelming force to end combat quickly. They were not built for prolonged battles. Velther watched in growing amazement. Tay had not landed a single blow. He was not trying to. He was just moving, dodging, staying out of reach. And Carrick was getting tired. 10 minutes. Carrick's armor plating, which protected him from attacks, was also trapping heat inside his body. Draken could not sweat. They had to pant to cool down, but panting required stopping, and stopping meant giving the enemy an opening. 15 minutes. Carrick was staggering now. His charges were clumsy. His swings were slow. His breathing sounded like a broken engine. Tay was sweating. His shirt was dark with it, but he was not breathing hard. He moved around the arena with the same steady pace he had started with. His eyes tracked every movement Carrick made, patient and alert. Hyan leaned close to Captain Velther. "Do you see it now, Captain? Do you understand?" "Understand what?" Velther whispered. "What humans are. What we evolved to be." Hyan's voice was quiet but intense. On Earth, our ancestors hunted prey across the grasslands. We would chase an animal for hours, for days if necessary. We would run and run until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. We did not need to be stronger. We did not need claws or venom. We just needed to never stop. And we have sweat glands, Captain. We can cool our bodies while we move. Most species cannot do that. 20 minutes. Carrack swung wildly at Tay and missed. The momentum of his own attack made him stumble. He fell to one knee, gasping for air. Tay stopped moving. He stood 10 feet away, watching the Draken warrior with those calm, patient eyes. "Yield," Tay said quietly. "You have fought with honor. There is no shame in yielding." Carrack tried to stand. His legs shook. He tried to lift his arms. They would not rise. His body was overheating, shutting down, unable to continue. The Draken warrior fell forward onto the platform. He was conscious, his eyes open, but his body would not obey him anymore. He had exhausted himself completely. Tay walked over to him. The arena was silent except for Carrack's labored breathing. Everyone expected the human to finish it, to deliver some final blow. Instead, Tay knelt beside the fallen warrior. He reached out his hand, offering to help Carrack up. The Draken commander stared. In all his years, he had never seen anything like this. This small, soft human had defeated his finest warrior without landing a single strike, had worn him down through patience and endurance, and now offered kindness to the defeated. "Apex," the commander said softly. The word carried through the silent arena. In Draken, it meant the top of the food chain. The ultimate predator. Captain Velthor finally understood. The humans were not prey. They had never been prey. They had been predators all along, and the galaxy had been too blind to see it. The Draken commander descended from his observation platform and walked onto the arena floor. His armored feet made heavy sounds against the metal surface. Carrack still lay there, breathing hard, unable to rise. Tay stood beside him, his hand still extended in offer of help. The commander reached down and lifted Carrack with 2 of his 4 arms. The warrior was heavy, but the commander was strong. He looked into Carrack's eyes and saw no shame there, only exhaustion and a strange kind of respect. "You fought with honor," the commander told his warrior. "You were defeated by something we did not understand. There is no dishonor in that." He turned to Tay. "Human, you have won the challenge. Carrack will live, and we will talk." Tay nodded. His face showed relief for the first time. "Thank you, Commander." "Do not thank me yet. We have much to discuss." The commander gestured to his warriors. "Release the lockdown. Take them to the hospitality chamber. Bring water and food." He paused, looking at Tay. "The human will need water especially. He loses much through his skin." Velthor felt his legs shaking as the Draken warriors escorted them through the station. The fear was leaving his body slowly, replaced by confusion and wonder. Yuna moved to Tay's side, checking him over with her medical scanner. Her hands were steady despite what they had just witnessed. "No injuries," she said quietly. "Heart rate elevated but not dangerous. Dehydration level moderate. You need to drink." "I will," Tay said. He was breathing harder now that the fight was over, allowing his body to relax. Sweat still covered his face and neck. "Is everyone else all right?" "We are fine," Hyan said. He put a hand on Tay's shoulder. "You did well, brother." The hospitality chamber was different from the dark corridors. The lights here were brighter, and actual chairs had been brought in. Not designed for humans, but usable. Water containers sat on a low table, along with food that looked edible if strange. Tay drank an entire container of water in long gulps. Then another. The other species watched him, noting how much liquid he consumed. Velthor realized that humans needed more water than most species, probably because they used it to cool themselves. The Draken commander entered, alone this time. He had removed his ceremonial armor and looked slightly less intimidating without it. He sat across from the coalition diplomatic team and was silent for a long moment. "I have made a mistake," he said finally. "My empire has made a mistake. We have been watching the coalition for many years. We saw the species you accepted. Prey animals, diplomatic species, support species. We saw no warriors, no predators. We thought you were weak. And then you saw humans, Hyan said. He spoke respectfully, but without submission. And you thought we were the weakest of all. Yes. The commander's mandibles clicked slowly. You appear soft. You have no natural armor. No claws, no venom, no obvious weapons. When the coalition gave you only support roles, we assumed it was because you needed protection. We were planning to invade coalition space. We thought it would be easy. We thought you would fall quickly. Velthor felt cold fear in his stomach again. You were planning to attack us? We were. But now, the commander looked at Tay. Now I have seen what happens when you underestimate a predator. You watch my warrior fight the human. Carrick is my strongest. He has never lost a battle. He has killed enemies with his bare hands. And the human defeated him without even striking a blow. Persistence hunting, Yuna explained. Her voice was calm, clinical. Humans evolved that way. On Earth, we hunted prey by chasing them until they collapsed from exhaustion. We did not need to be faster. We just needed to never stop. And we developed the ability to cool ourselves with sweat so we could run for hours without overheating. Most species cannot do this, the commander said slowly, understanding. Most species overheat if they exert themselves too long. They must stop to cool down. But humans can continue. They can outlast anything. It is more than that, Jinwoo added. The communications officer had been quiet until now. Humans are also pattern recognition specialists. We evolved to track prey across long distances, to read signs and predict behavior. That is why Tay could dodge Carrick's attacks. He was reading the warrior's movements, learning his patterns. The commander leaned back in his chair. You are predators. Apex predators. And you have been hiding this from the galaxy. Not hiding, Tay said. He had recovered now, his breathing normal again. We just did not advertise it. When we joined the coalition, we were grateful. Earth had nearly destroyed itself in wars. We needed time to heal, to learn, to become part of something larger than ourselves. We accepted the roles we were given because we understood they did not yet trust us. And because being underestimated is a strategic advantage, Hyan said with a slight smile. On Earth, the most dangerous predators do not announce themselves. They watch. They learn. They wait for the right moment. Velthor listened to this conversation and felt his understanding of humans changing completely. He had thought he was protecting them. He had thought they needed his care and guidance. But they had never needed protection. They had been patient, waiting for the galaxy to see them as equals rather than charity cases. Your patience is impressive, the commander said. 20 years of accepting lesser roles. 20 years of being treated as weak. Most species would have demanded better treatment, would have proven themselves through conflict. We learned patience a long time ago, Tay said. When you hunt prey by outlasting it, you learn that patience wins. Quick tempers lose. Acting too soon loses. Waiting for the right moment wins. The commander nodded slowly. His respect for humans was clear in his posture and voice. The Draken respects strength. But we also respect strategic thinking. You have shown both. The Empire will not invade coalition space. Instead, we will offer alliance. Alliance? Velthor said. This was more than he had hoped for. He had come here hoping to avoid war. Now, they might gain a powerful ally. Yes, the Draken Empire respects warriors. You have warriors in your coalition. We did not see them before. We did not understand what humans were. But I understand now. The commander looked at each human in the room. I have seen what happens when someone underestimates your species. I do not want humanity as an enemy. I would rather have you as allies. That is acceptable to us, Velther said quickly. Then he paused. But I should not speak for the humans. Perhaps they should speak for themselves. Tay smiled slightly. Thank you, Captain. We appreciate that. And yes, Commander, we would be happy to have the Draken as allies. We believe strength and wisdom can coexist. The Coalition has wisdom. Your Empire has strength. Together, we can build something better. The commander stood and extended one clawed hand. It was a human gesture, adopted by many species in the galaxy. A handshake, symbolizing agreement and trust. Tay stood and took the hand without hesitation. The size difference was dramatic. The commander's hand could have crushed Tay's easily. But the grip was gentle, respectful. I will send word to the Emperor, the commander said. He will want to meet you humans. He will want to understand your people. This will be interesting. After the commander left to make his reports, the diplomatic team sat together in the chamber. Velther looked at his human crew members with new eyes. I apologize, he said quietly. I treated you as if you needed protection. I treated you as if you were weak. I did not see what you truly were. You were kind to us, Una said gently. That is not something to apologize for. The galaxy needed time to know us. We understood that. We were patient, but we wasted your potential. We put you in support roles when you could have been so much more. Support roles are important too, Tay said. Engineering keeps ships running. Medical care saves lives. We did good work. But yes, we are capable of more. When the Coalition is ready to see that, we will be ready to show it. Hyan pulled out his communication device. I should report this to Earth. The leadership will want to know that our patience has paid off. The galaxy is starting to see us differently. Velther thought about his own report. He would need to recommend immediate changes to human assignment protocols. The Coalition had been wasting humanity's potential for 20 years. It was time to correct that mistake. He also thought about Tay walking forward in the arena, calm and confident, while the captain himself had been frozen in fear. The human had taken the lead, not because he did not trust Velther, but because he understood his own nature. He knew what he was capable of in a way the captain had not. The galaxy had assumed humans were like domesticated animals, kept safe by stronger species. But domesticated animals had wild ancestors, and those instincts still lived in their blood. Humans had never been domesticated. They had simply chosen to be patient on. Now the galaxy would learn what patience had been hiding. And Velther suspected that many species would be very surprised by what they discovered. 3 weeks after the incident at the Draken border station, Captain Velther sat in his quarters aboard the Harmony's Promise, writing his official report. The blue glow from his desk screen reflected off his face as he chose his words carefully. This report would be read by Coalition Command, by species representatives, by military analysts across dozens of worlds. He had rewritten it 5 times already. Each time, he found himself struggling to explain what he had learned about humans. The words seemed insufficient. How could he convey the feeling of watching Tay walk forward while everyone else froze in fear? How could he describe the moment when Karak, the undefeated Draken warrior, collapsed from exhaustion while the humans still stood ready to continue? Computer, begin recording supplemental notes, Velther said. Personal observations regarding human crew members. For the attention of Fleet Admiral Kareth. The computer beeped acknowledgement. Admiral, I must strongly recommend an immediate and comprehensive review of human assignment protocols throughout the Coalition fleet. For 20 years, we have placed humans exclusively in support roles, based on our assessment that they lack the physical capabilities for combat or dangerous assignments. This assessment was fundamentally flawed. Velther paused, organizing his thoughts. His training as a diplomat taught him to be precise and factual. But he also needed to convey urgency. Humans are an apex predator species from a Class 12 death world. Their evolutionary path differs significantly from all other coalition members. Where most sentient species evolve from prey animals or omnivores in relatively stable environments, humans evolved as persistence hunters in one of the most dangerous ecosystems in the known galaxy. They possess several traits that we failed to recognize as combat advantages. He began listing them, each one supported by what he had witnessed. First, exceptional endurance. Humans can maintain physical activity for extended periods that would incapacitate most species. Their unique cooling system, based on liquid secretion through skin pores, allows them to regulate body temperature while continuing exertion. In practical terms, a human can outlast nearly any opponent in prolonged conflict. Second, pattern recognition capabilities that exceed most species. This evolved from their need to track prey across vast distances. In combat situations, this translates to rapid threat assessment and predictive response. Engineer Tay demonstrated this by successfully evading a Draken warrior's attacks through reading movement patterns rather than relying on superior speed. Third, psychological resilience. During the crisis at the Draken station, every non-human crew member, including myself, experienced fear responses that impaired judgment and decision-making. The human crew members remained calm and functional. This suggests that humans have either a different relationship with danger or superior emotional regulation under stress. Possibly both. Velther stopped recording and rubbed his eyes with two hands. His other two hands tapped his desk in a nervous pattern. He was still troubled by his own behavior during the crisis. He had frozen. He had been useless. Meanwhile, Tay had walked forward to face death with calm determination. The door chimed. "Enter," Velther said. Hannah stepped into his quarters. The human security officer had been assigned to the ship only 2 months ago, transferred from a supply depot where she had been managing cargo shipments. She was young for a human, perhaps 25 standard years, with alert eyes that seemed to catalog everything they saw. "Captain, you asked to see me?" she said. "Yes, Hala. Please, sit." Velther gestured to a chair. "I am writing recommendations about human crew assignments. I would like your perspective on something." "Of course, sir." "During the crisis, you remained calm while armed Draken warriors threatened us. Why? Were you not afraid?" Hannah considered the question carefully. "I was afraid, Captain. Fear is natural. It is information that tells you a situation is dangerous. But being afraid does not mean you stop functioning. Humans evolved in environments where danger was constant. Fear had to be something we could work through, not something that paralyzed us. Other species freeze when afraid. It is an instinctive response. For prey species, yes. Freezing makes you less visible to predators. It is a survival strategy." Hannah's voice was matter-of-fact, not judgmental. "But humans are not prey species, Captain. When we are afraid, our instinct is different. We assess the threat, we make a plan, we take action. Fight or flight, we call it. But both options involve movement, not freezing." Velther absorbed this. For 20 years, the Coalition has been trying to protect humans. We thought you needed protection because you seemed vulnerable. Soft bodies, no natural weapons. But we were misunderstanding everything about you. "You were being kind," Hannah said gently. "The Coalition saved Earth when we needed help. We are grateful for that. The kindness and acceptance we received allowed us to heal and grow. We never saw your protection as an insult. But we were wasting your potential. Perhaps. But we were also learning. About the galaxy, about other species, about how to work together. Those 20 years were not wasted, Captain. They were an investment. Now the galaxy is ready to see what we can really do, and we are ready to show them. After Hannah left, Velter finished his report and sent it to Coalition Command. Then he sat in the quiet of his quarters and thought about the future. He wondered how many other species would be shocked when they learned the truth about humans. He wondered how military tactics would change when human capabilities were properly utilized. He wondered if the galaxy was ready for this shift. On Earth, in the Coalition Embassy in the city they called Geneva, Ambassador Park Min-ho read Velther's report with a slight smile. He was an older human, with gray in his hair and lines around his eyes from years of careful diplomacy. He had been ambassador when humanity first joined the coalition 20 years ago. He had been the one to recommend patience. "They are finally seeing it," he said to his aide, a younger human named Sora. "Should we issue a statement?" Sora asked. "No. Let the coalition realize this on their own. Let the information spread naturally. If we announce it ourselves, some species might see it as threatening. But if they discover it through experience, through working with humans, it becomes knowledge instead of fear." "The ambassador is wise," Sora said with respect. Park Min-ho laughed. "The ambassador is old and has seen what happens when you push too hard. Humanity spent thousands of years fighting itself. We learned hard lessons about patience and timing. We can use those lessons now." Across coalition space, Velther's report began to circulate. Fleet Admiral Korath, a methodical and analytical Torvalian, read it 3 times. Then he requested all mission reports involving human crew members from the past year. He wanted to see if there were other signs they had missed. There were many. Small incidents that seemed insignificant at the time now took on new meaning. A human engineer who worked for 36 hours, straight to repair damaged systems when any other species would have collapsed. A human medic who remained calm during an emergency evacuation while everyone else panicked. A human cultural liaison who successfully negotiated with hostile traders through patience and psychological insight. The signs had always been there. The coalition simply had not known what they were seeing. Korath called a meeting of the Fleet Command Council. Representatives from 12 species attended via holographic projection, their images floating above the conference table. "We have a situation," Korath began. "It is not a crisis, but it requires immediate attention. We have been systematically misunderstanding and underutilizing one of our member species for 20 years. He shared Velther's report, along with the supplemental data he had gathered. The council watched in silence as video footage played, showing Tay's fight with Carrick. The footage came from the Draken Station's security systems, which the commander had provided as part of the alliance agreement. When the presentation ended, the council chamber was quiet. "This changes everything," said Councillor Vresh, a Selkith military strategist. "If humans have these capabilities, we need to reassess our entire personnel structure. It also explains several historical mysteries," added Councillor Torman, a Kryn cultural analyst. "Humans achieve spaceflight faster than any other species after developing industrial technology. We thought it was luck or recklessness. But if they have superior endurance and pattern recognition, perhaps it was simply their nature. They would not stop trying until they succeeded." "What do we do?" asked Councillor Pleck, who oversaw personnel assignments. "We cannot simply promote thousands of humans overnight. Other species might see it as favoritism or a threat." Fleet Admiral Korath nodded. "Agreed. We will implement changes gradually but systematically. First, offer advanced training to all human crew members who want it. Combat training, tactical command training, first contact protocols. Second, create new positions that utilize their specific capabilities. Persistence missions, long-duration operations, threat assessment. Third, and most importantly, Stop treating them like they need protection. The council voted unanimously to approve the changes. Back on the Harmony's promise, Captain Velther received a priority. 6 months had passed since the incident at the Draken border station. Throughout Coalition space, things were changing in ways both obvious and subtle. The changes rippled outward from that single encounter, transforming how the galaxy saw humanity and how humans saw their own place among the stars. On the Coalition military station Kepler-7, Commander Jian stood on the observation deck watching ships come and go through the traffic lanes. She wore the uniform of a tactical response team leader, a position that had not existed for humans 6 months ago. The dark blue fabric had patches showing her certifications in combat coordination, crisis management, and first contact protocols, all earned in the intensive training period after Fleet Command's policy changes. Behind her, the door opened. Captain Velther entered, his 4 eyes adjusting to the bright light from the viewport. He had been promoted after his successful mission to the Draken Empire. Now he commanded an entire task force rather than a single ship. "Commander Jian," he said formally, "thank you for meeting with me." "Of course, Captain. It is good to see you again." Jian smiled. She had served on his ship before the reassignments, working in communications. Now she led a team that responded to the most dangerous situations in Coalition space. "I have a request," Velther said. "My task force is being sent to the Outer Rim. There have been reports of unknown vessels in that sector. Possibly pirates, possibly something else. I would like your team to accompany us." "A dangerous assignment," Jian noted. "Yes, which is why I thought of you. Your team has the best success rate in the Coalition for handling unpredictable threats." Jian nodded slowly. 6 months ago, Velther would never have given humans a dangerous assignment. He would have tried to protect them. Now he was specifically requesting them for danger. The change was significant. "We accept," she said. "When do we depart?" "Tomorrow, at 0800 hours. I will send you the mission briefing." Velther hesitated, then added, "Commander, may I speak informally for a moment?" "Of course. I still think about that day on the Draken station. I tried to protect Tay when he did not need protection. I was useless while he saved all of us. Sometimes I feel ashamed of that." Jian turned to face him fully. "Captain, you should not feel ashamed. You are Kryn. Your people evolved as prey animals. Fear in the face of predators is written into your genetics. You cannot help that any more than humans can help their persistence instincts. What matters is that you learned and changed. Many would have been too proud to admit their mistake. You are generous. No, I'm honest. The Coalition saved Earth when we needed help. You and others like you welcomed us and treated us with kindness, even though we were strangers. Yes, you underestimated our capabilities, but you never treated us with cruelty or contempt. That kindness gave us time to heal and grow. We will always be grateful for that." After Velther left, Jian remained on the observation deck for a while, thinking about how far things had come. She pulled out her personal communicator and opened a message from her brother, Minzeo, who still lived on Earth. "The news here is full of stories about humans in the Coalition," he had written. "They are calling it the recognition. People are proud, but some are worried. They think we will become soldiers for the Coalition, that Earth will lose its children to galactic wars. What should I tell them?" Jian thought carefully before responding. "Tell them that we are not becoming soldiers. We are becoming partners. For 20 years, we were the species that needed help. Now we can help others. That is not a loss. That is growth. And tell them that the Coalition is not using us. They are finally seeing us. There is a difference." On the Coalition capital world of Valen Prime, Fleet Admiral Korath reviewed personnel reports in his office. The numbers told an interesting story. Over the past 6 months, 847 humans had voluntarily enrolled in advanced training programs. 412 had qualified for combat positions. 203 had qualified for command track. 89 had specialized in first contact operations, the most dangerous job in the coalition. But what interested Korath most was the success rates. Human teams had a 94% mission success rate, highest in the coalition. Their casualty rate was among the lowest. They completed assignments faster than projections, and they received commendations for innovation and creative problem-solving at rates that exceeded any other species. "They are remarkable," Korath said to his aide, a Torvalian like himself. "Not because they are warriors, but because they think differently. They see problems from angles we miss." "The pattern recognition capability?" the aide asked. "That and something else. Humans seem to have a natural talent for synthesis. They take information from multiple sources and create new solutions. It is a cognitive flexibility most species lack." What Korath did not add, but thought privately, was that humans also seemed to have an unusual talent for empathy. They understood other species' perspectives in ways that even trained diplomats struggled with. He suspected it came from their predator evolution. A hunter must understand its prey's behavior. Humans had evolved to read and predict the actions of many different species on their world. Now they applied that skill to understanding aliens, on Earth, in the city of Seoul. Park Min-ho sat in a small restaurant with his old friend and colleague, Ambassador Choi Yoon-ji. They ate simple food and talked about the changes sweeping through human communities in coalition space. "The young ones are excited," Yoon-ji said. "They see opportunity. They want to explore, to prove themselves, to be heroes." "That is natural," Min-ho replied. "But we must be careful. The galaxy is beginning to fear us a little. They see our capabilities and wonder if we are dangerous." "Are we dangerous?" Min-ho considered this question seriously. "All predator species are dangerous, Yoon-ji. That is what predator means. But dangerous and hostile are not the same thing. A doctor is dangerous. They have knowledge that could harm, but they choose to heal. We must show the galaxy that humans choose to build, not destroy. Some species will not believe that. They will see what we can do and assume the worst. Some, yes, but not all. The Draken respect us now because we proved ourselves. The Kryn respect us because we showed them patience and kindness even when they underestimated us. Other species will come to their own understanding in time. We must continue to be patient." Yoon-ji smiled. "Always patience with you, Min-ho. But patience has worked. 20 years ago, we were a broken species asking for help. Now we are partners in the coalition. That is worth the wait." Across the galaxy, humans were finding their place. Not as warriors, though some chose that path. Not as diplomats, though many excelled there. But as full members of the galactic community, finally recognized for their true capabilities. Tae had returned to the Harmony's promise as Chief of Security, but his duties had expanded. He now trained other species in endurance techniques and threat assessment. Yuna headed the emergency medical response team for her sector, coordinating between multiple species with different physiological needs. Hyan served as a senior advisor on human-alien relations, teaching others about human psychology and behavior. Jin-Woo had been promoted to communications director for the Coalition's exploration division. His pattern recognition skills made him excellent at analyzing alien communication attempts. He had already helped establish first contact with 2 new species. Hana commanded her own ship now, a fast response vessel that investigated distress calls in dangerous sectors. Her crew was mixed species, and they trusted her completely. She led from the front, but she also understood when to delegate and when to protect. Leadership, she had learned, was knowing when to take risks and when to keep others safe. One evening, aboard her ship Steadfast, Hannah sat in the mess hall with her crew. A young Kryn officer named Kelvin sat across from her, nervous about his first combat simulation the next day. "Commander, may I ask you something?" Kelvin said. "Of course. How do you manage fear?" "When situations become dangerous, you always seem calm. But I know you must feel afraid sometimes. How do you work through it?" Hannah thought about her answer carefully. "Fear is information, Kelvin. It tells you a situation is dangerous. That is useful information. But fear should not control your actions. I feel afraid in dangerous situations. But I also trust my training, my skills, and my team. The fear is there, but it is not in charge. That is different from how my people experience fear. I know. Your people evolved as prey. Fear told your ancestors to freeze or run, and that kept them alive. My people evolved as hunters. Fear told our ancestors to be alert and careful, but not to stop. Different evolution, different relationship with fear. Neither is better or worse. They are just different." Kelvin absorbed this. The galaxy is learning that species are more different than we realized. Yes, and that is good. Diversity makes us stronger. Each species brings different strengths. The Coalition needs Kryn diplomacy and Torvalian analytical thinking and Selka's navigation skills, and Draken warrior culture and human endurance. All of it together is more powerful than anyone alone. Later that night, Hannah stood on her ship's small bridge, watching stars slip past as they traveled through space. She thought about Captain Velar's